James Harrison with an exercise for you, a tip, whatever you want to call it, when you're working on shuffles. One good thing to do is actually practice it with brushes. And one of the things that I like to do with sticks, brushes, everything is the rudiments now, the double stroke is called the double stroke open roll. Okay. When I was a kid, before the PASIC, Percussive Art Society, took that over, not the convention, but the Percussive Art Society, and redid the rudiments around 78, 79, and it expanded it to 40. Before that, it was 26, and it goes back before that. But the point is, the double stroke roll prior to that was often called the long roll. And most of the charts, it started on the left hand and you accented the second note. Now, in theory, behind that is if you put an emphasis on that second note, it forced you, as you got faster, to try to emphasize that note as much as possible so that when you got to a certain point, your fingers would maintain or control the rebound and accent of that note to keep it more even once you got fast. Of course, when you're playing super fast, you couldn't make that note stand out, but it would make the roll more even. Okay, so and if you didn't do that, a lot of what you see that happens a lot of days now is because there's no accent on the double stroke roll now, and a lot of people, because they're hitting and bouncing, they have a heavy downstroke, which gives you a roll that sounds something like this, instead of something that sounds very even. So the original long roll, I'm going to use brushes. The reason I'm using brushes is they don't rebound the way a stick would, so it's more difficult. And this is a fairly low tune snare as well. It's an old Sonar. So it's I'm just accenting that second note. Now at this speed, I'm using my wrist. As I get faster, my fingers get more involved. Emphasize that note. And I get faster, the accent will start to get less, but the notes will sound more even than just going with a relaxed bounce, okay? Because I'm using my fingers to separate those notes. By starting with that accent, gives me, you can pick your own tempo. With brushes, it's harder to go as fast as you do with sticks, but you know, as if I did just the down, let it bounce, it doesn't have the same effect as that kind of a feel. So it's a great thing to practice. And what that also helps you do is learn to emphasize the second note, which could help you on shuffles, because you could do that same thing. Because we know with shuffles, you're oftentimes doing something like maybe emphasizing a smaller note and a bigger note and a smaller note again. And that's the key to the shuffle. So doing that long roll, the old style, with the accent on the second beat, with brushes will help you get some of the control it takes to emphasize that second note. And as you get faster, to control that note to where it has a more even feel versus letting it bounce. Okay? Having that control can give you a good sound on that roll. Brushes even helps more.